meeting of the Health and Education Facilities Board to order. In consideration of the minutes from our last meeting, which was December 9th, 2024, are there questions or comments or a move to approve those? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The meeting minutes for December 9th, 2024 thereby are approved. I'd like to also now call a public comment period. Is there anyone who would like to address the group? Yes, Councilman Allen. Councilperson Allen.
Councilmember.
Councilmember.
Councilmember Berkeley Allen, and I would just like to give a very quick update on the mixed income pilot, which this group administers. And officially, as the legislation is written, this group has approval authority over changes that we make. And so we have a bill that is, a resolution that is coming back to the council. I've deferred it once already, that would change the current model that we have, which is a tiered sort of model that gives a tax abatement to a developer who is building mixed income housing, which would be some market rate and some percentage would be set aside for income restricted rents. As we created it, it was a three-tiered sort of formula that they could pick a tier in and run with that. It was successful. There were 2 rounds that people immediately signed up for, and then market conditions changed. So one of those has been completed and is up and running on Dickerson Pike, and it's a hotel conversion that's pretty exciting. And there's one more that's in the works that we want to get through over the finish line. And so I'm going to defer what I have back in front of the council today, but would also just appreciate comments from y'all on the specific formula that we're looking at using. The resolution simply says, rather than going with the 3 tiers that have been carefully spelled out, that we will use a formula that the housing division will be the keeper of. It's based on one that Chattanooga has used successfully, that simply looks at the difference between the small area market rate and what would be charged to be 30% of someone's income, which is the definition of affordable housing. So it'll be more dynamic as market rates change, so that hopefully it will not, become either inappropriate or too good of a deal as market rates change. So I'm going to defer it on council tomorrow night, probably until May, I believe. But in the meantime, if because y'all officially have approval authority over changes, I would be happy to send you the current formula that's there. I'm not sure, I can't guarantee that the housing division is going to run with exactly that, but would appreciate your input on that before it does come back in May. Great. So that's my report. Any thoughts or questions?
Great. And so you'll send us that so we can get some review on it, and then we can. That'd be great. And I think then we'll probably have some questions and comments.
Okay.
Unless anybody has anything now.
No. Right. And there have been some suggestions from the industry about changes to the contract language. That's officially administered by Metro Legal, but it does run through you, so I'm happy to send that to Cindy as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your service.
All right.
Welcome. Welcome. Number 4 has been taken off the agenda for today. So we're going to start with number 5, which is preliminary approval, consideration of the request of TWG Parkwood Villa LP for preliminary approval, the issuance not to exceed $30 million multifamily housing revenue bonds in one or more series. Who'd like to address this, please?
Hi.
Welcome.
Where would you like?
You can just stand right here if you want to. And usually we give you a couple minutes to present, and then we'll ask questions.
Okay, great. I'm Phyllis Vaughn with Vaughn Development Group. We are representing TWG Development. They were unable to make it today, so I'm here to try to give you the information that you need to approve the request that we are asking for $30 million in volume cap from this group. The development will be an acquisition and rehab of 160 units. It will be located at 3258 Brick Church Pike. It will be a family development, and it went through bonds and tax credits years ago, so it's an existing development. The rents will be capped at between 50% and 60% of AMI. There will be, as far as relocating the tenants, there will be very little of that. So I'd love to give you the information you need, but don't want to overstay my welcome.
Thank you. Can you define very little?
On the
very little relocation.
Relocation. They're not planning on any relocation for this. I just put in the very little in case there is a unit or two that they would need to relocate people. If they have to do that, it would be on site. They would just change them from one unit to the other. So I just didn't want to mislead you in saying there won't be any relocation, but they're not anticipating it at this point.
How many residents currently occupy the units?
It's 160 units.
And fully occupied at this moment?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Other questions?
Are the units currently considered affordable?
Yes, yes. They're currently under the tax credit program, so at 50 and 60% of AMI.
And that's going to stay the same?
Yes.
Could you talk through some more of the, so it's a renovation, is it not, or you're just?
It'll be about $55,000 a door, so they're planning on doing significant renovations, but they're hoping they can work around the tenants. And like I said, it could be that there'd be a unit or two that they wouldn't be able to, but if not, then they will relocate the tenants on site. So it would be, they'll try to do as little disruption to the tenants as possible.
And what are some of the renovations that are being discussed?
I am not the developer, and they weren't. We're just representing them today, so I can't go into, I honestly, I don't know what that is. But they'd be doing things like appliances, paint, countertops, bathrooms, renovating all of that. Kitchens and bathrooms would be the main types of upgrades. And it would be upgrades, basically, because this hasn't been renovated since 2010. So it's
And
been
this is a
15 years.
preliminary review, so they'll be required to come back and give specifics. So I think it'd be good just to let them know, we often like to go a little deeper and find out specifics, so when they come back.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they just weren't able to make it today, but I'm sure they'll be able to make it the next time. So you'll have a developer that's much more ingrained in what the construction issues would be.
So they're gonna paint, change,
It's upgrades,
all that,
basically
while the
upgrades.
tenants are still in the building? I mean,
Yes.
still in the units?
That's why they'll try their best to work around them as much as they can. If they need to relocate them, it would be on site, so that they would be as little disruption to them and their families as possible.
Any other questions or comments? Again, this is a preliminary approval, so is there a motion to move either way for preliminary approval?
Make a motion.
You'll need a public hearing, promise.
Oh, thank you. Let's get a public hearing first. Always good to have someone remind me. Would anybody like to speak for this publicly? For or against, any comments? Seeing that there was no one for public comment, we'd like now to move if there's a motion.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All in favor? This is a preliminary, also another preliminary approval consideration of the request of Bend on 12 limited partnership for preliminary approval of the issuance not to exceed $52 million multifamily housing revenue bonds. Who would like to speak on this?
Hi, good
Hi,
morning.
Cricket.
Hi all, my name is Cricket Cleary. I'm a Director of Development at Lincoln Avenue Communities. We are a affordable, mission-driven affordable housing developer. We're one of the largest in the country, and we're proud to own and operate over 170 communities in about 30 states. So about 30,000 families call Lincoln Avenue Communities their home.
We understand that you got the Flew In for Most Distance Award today, right?
Yeah, I usually try not to tell people that, but yes, correct.
Well, thank you, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So here for preliminary approval for multifamily revenue bonds for the Bend on 12. It is a proposed up to 230 unit multifamily affordable community serving families earning 60% of the area median income. It is in the Bordeaux neighborhood, sort of at the intersection of Clarksville Pike and Ashland City Highway. The site that we're looking at is around just shy of 10 acres, so 9.67 acres, and would be a mix of 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. We really take a holistic approach to housing, so the amenities would be, intended and built to integrate community and upward mobility and allowing people to, gym, community room, local, kitchen for folks to have birthday parties or whatnot on site as well. We're still working through the specific amenity package for that, just to make sure that we're integrating the feedback from the community. So to that effect, we are in District 1. We have communicated with Council Member Kimbrough and are planning to go to a community meeting in March 27th. I don't want to take too much time, but I'm happy to answer any other questions that y'all might have.
Yeah, I would like to find out more information when you all do make that connection.
Sure.
You know, just to have a understanding of that community and the type of needs that are, needed over.
Yeah,
in my area.
yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm still trying to figure out where, Clarksville Pike and Ashland City,
Right after Metro Center.
Right across from the Northwest Family YMCA, the Blue Cross.
Thank you.
That they just did a $6 million renovation a
Thank
few
you.
years back.
So you're gonna do a survey of some type with existing residents to get feedback from them, is that what I heard you say?
So this will be a new construction. We always like to work in collaboration with the communities that we're building in. So we'll be going to the community meeting to solicit feedback. Of course, we can't always guarantee that we integrate 100% of the feedback, and sometimes the feedback conflicts with different, from various people. So we are intending to, connect with the community, make them aware, and solicit feedback on the community.
Great.
What's currently situated on the property?
It is currently vacant land.
What drew you all to Nashville?
We build in 30, or we own and operate in 30 states. Specifically, I think Nashville has a really big need just from a housing perspective. So these restricted rents at 60% of the area median income are about a 26% discount to market rents on average. And so when we look at being able to make the most impact, that impact really increases for larger bedroom types. So for example, for a 2-bedroom unit, the rent is about just over $1,400 for a restricted affordable unit. Market rent is, over $2,000. So when you look at a family being able to save $700 a month on their rent, that's higher quality groceries, that's kids and sports programs, that's, it's saving for a down payment on a home. So, it's, from that perspective, it's a market we really believe in.
Will there be any partnership with the Port Y? Will there be any partnership with the Northwest Y?
That's a great question. I think that's always something that we strive for. We will have a gym on site, but I mean that facility is a really top-notch facility. So something that we'd love to figure out a partnership, but not currently planned.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you again. Being that this is a preliminary approval, they will be back. Is there anybody that publicly would like to comment? Seeing that there was no public comment, I will move for approval or other questions. Would anybody like to move?
I'll move to approve.
Move to approve. There's a second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Thank you very much. And thank you for the reminder. We're moving on to item number 7. This is another preliminary approval with public hearing requestment, so I'll remember to do that. Consideration of the request for Roars, did I pronounce it correctly?
Roars, yeah.
Roars Nashville Affordable Apartments, Owner 1 LLC for preliminary approval of the issuance not to exceed $60 million of multifamily housing revenue bonds. Who do we have the pleasure of seeing today?
Sure, thank you, Ward. I'm Nick Asta. I'm a developer with Roars Companies based in Minnesota, but we have projects all over the country. We're a vertically integrated across 7 different states, and we're constantly looking at new markets and growing in new areas. So this will be our first project in Tennessee. So interestingly enough, this is actually in the same location as the previous project. The project is it's already an approved SP, and the current owner is dividing and selling to 2 different developers. So we're buying the north half. It's 9.6 acres, up to 230 units. There is commercial space plan that is being retained by the current owner, so that'll be a nice amenity to the project. And then just given the, it's in a very, it's in a growing area. There's been a lot of development in the area. Multiple SPs approved. It's close to downtown. There's a bus line in the area that we talked about the YMCA. So a lot of good things going on in the area. Our project will be 4 buildings, 230 units, or up to 230 units, with a mix of 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom units. 100% of the units will be at 60% AMI, and similar to the other project, it'll have high-end amenities, a lot of exterior amenities, high-end finishes, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions on the project.
I don't imagine that you have the answer to this, but considering that, you know, there are 2 projects planned on the same land, I am wondering about the impact of like construction and how that's going to work. So just naming that as y'all are thinking through the plans, like what will.
Sure. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some collaboration that has to occur, and I mean, there's a main spine road that'll run through the site that'll service both parcels. I mean, the original plan for the project was to build all units at the same time. The current owners decided not to do that, so I think there's certainly enough land and room and you know, utilities and that sort of thing that can service this number of units.
Can you speak to the business that you said was located there, the
The
commercial
retail?
retail?
Oh no, there will be. They're maintaining, I think it's like 2-ish acres of the 21-ish acres. Within the SP, there's commercial uses.
Do you think there's any restrictions on what can be put there
I am not positive, no.
on the retail side?
Yeah.
I guess it's the same kind of question. So your connection to the council member, have you all reached out?
We have reached out. The original SP was actually approved under a different council member, but we've reached out to Councilmember Kim to discuss the project. Kimbrough, sorry. To discuss the project, so that conversation has occurred.
It has occurred, okay. And you're getting feedback on what that neighborhood wants. Okay, and I'm just gonna be honest, all of this new construction in that area, very familiar with that area. I really wanna make sure that residents that are presently there are not being displaced because of this new construction. And so part of mine, and I didn't get to really ask that of the previous development, but part of my questioning is how do you get the information out, reaching to the neighbors and people who are there about the affordable housing that you do have. So what are some of your steps, just to make sure that we're in that community specifically? I know that it is the major place that has the most land. And so we want to be very wise about how the approach is.
Sure. Well, I think the good news is the SP's already gone through Metro, so it's certainly well known that the project is coming and other projects in the area are happening. In terms of our process, we'll have to work through final SP and we'll have community engagement as well. So like neighborhood meeting or something along those lines is certainly on the table and something we're open to.
Yes,
yeah, and it's always helpful to have community feedback as we work through it, so we can certainly do that.
Yes, especially with thinking about retail, you know, the type of retail that would be there, the type of clientele, you know, so just something to think about. Thank you.
Yeah.
And is there a way to appropriately ask the kind of retail that's expected there? Again, I'm thinking a family with a 4-bedroom place. I don't want there to be a certain type of retail right in front of those kids.
Totally.
So, but within appropriate bounds, just to find out what the plan is.
Yeah.
I'd love that at the next meeting.
I would imagine, yeah, I can run that to ground.
Yeah, that would be great to know.
So you mentioned that a community meeting is on the table? Can we
It's
be
something
able-
we're open to, we haven't scheduled it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll just be honest, I'm not gonna vote in favor of this on final reading if there's not a community meeting,
Totally.
so.
Okay.
So if we do approve, okay, so if we do approve today,
I'm with you on that.
when you come back, we're gonna ask if there was a community meeting.
Okay.
If there
And
wasn't,
I think also some proactive just information, like I'm thinking, is there a QR code and a sign in the front where someone can look and find out what it is if they don't feel comfortable walking onto the property? The local churches, the YMCA is just putting things up that say, if you're wondering what's going on over here, here's exactly what it is. Just being super transparent.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So you said you're at 60% AMI, I think in line with the other property that's going
Yeah.
up there. The price points, I guess, on the rents are gonna be similar, equal, the same kind of, and then same look and feel, I guess, or different sort of?
Yeah,
Is that kind of where-
it'll probably be pretty similar. I mean, there's a lot of green space, a lot of walking trails that are already required through the SP. There's actually walk-up units on the main floor, which would be a nice touch, so, but design-wise, there might be some differences.
Any other questions from the board? Being that there's also a requirement for a public hearing, I'd like to ask if anybody would like to speak publicly. Seeing that no one was interested, we'll move for approval. Is there a motion? I will move for approval. Does anybody want to second that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any against, opposed? All right, approved, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to number 8 on the board agenda. This is another preliminary approval. Consideration of the request of the Rebecca James Company for preliminary approval of the issuance not to exceed $60 million multifamily housing revenue bonds. Who do we have the pleasure of hearing from today?
I'm James Crockett, the owner of the Rebecca James Company. So this project is the Hope House on Jefferson. That's what it's called. I'm partnering. It's on 16th and Jefferson Street, right by Fisk University.
Yep.
We're actually I'm partnering with Pleasant Green Baptist Church on their land. We actually are going to do a 99-year ground lease with them, and the nonprofit partner will be Pleasant Green Community Development, CDC, Community Development Corporation, will be our nonprofit partner. We plan to build a brand new ground-up construction, 6-7-story mid-rise, mixed-use, mixed-income in mid-rise. Rents will be at 60% AMI. Amazon has already committed to giving me 9 to 12 million already for mezz financing. We did some community surveys. Me and the church also, we did community surveys. We came up with them wanting affordable childcare, and we plan to do that. They also want some affordable rents for small businesses too. So we're gonna try to see if we can make that work too. So we have that. We also want to implement, because I believe in home ownership, so we're gonna have programs in there that will just not, we don't want to keep the tenants there forever. We want them to work towards home ownership, because I feel that's generational wealth. So we actually gonna talk to Fisk University and try to partner and figure out a way to activate, because the kids could, if we have certain type of tenants there, they could come over, and do work, group work or whatever. It'll be a great partnership with Fisk University being right there. So, and we do have support from Councilman Brandon Taylor already. So, any questions?
Great. Questions?
I didn't say it's 180 units.
180 units.
Oh, well, it's around 180 to 200 units right now.
I always like to hear that partnership with Amazon.
Yeah, so I was a developer in the Amazon Real Estate Developer Academy, Red Academy. I don't know if y'all heard about that, but I was one of the developers in the first cohort, and I was one of 2 companies that got awarded. And the other one, but yeah, one of 2 companies that got awarded the money, or at least got the thumbs up right now for the money from Amazon. So I'm excited about that.
Would you speak a little bit more to the home ownership concept that you have?
Yeah, so I build, so I'm doing affordable home ownerships too on other projects. So I don't want the tenants to, I don't know, I just don't want the tenants to just be there forever. I know people saying they're doing, 60% or 30% AMI, but my plan is to try to put in programs. So I'm finding nonprofits that would help the tenants, figure out how to get out of just being a renter and go into home ownership. So that's just one of my things.
So it's an educational approach.
Educational, yeah.
Thank you. You were going to say something?
My question was going to be about the Amazon partnership. Are there any stipulations or special restrictions?
Yeah, so we have to have a 99-year affordability. Yep.
And so I'm familiar, I think, with the particular plot. And you're
Yes.
gonna be able to go up to be able to get the number of
Yes,
units
yes,
versus
yes.
going out, cause it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
really large.
It's not a large lot, so we're actually we're gonna purchase Scott Chambers lots, which is between the church and the park. So we plan on activating that park too, that's not even being utilized unless somebody's walking their dog over there, so,
The Cussy Gardner Park?
yes.
Park.
Yeah, that park. It's not, nobody's
show,
really
James?
using it.
You want to
We
show
can,
them?
oh, yeah.
We didn't get a version of this printed out, but this is where the site, and I'm Andy Zhu with MFX Ventures working with James here.
Yeah.
That's the church that's existing, and this is Fisk right beneath it. This is right on Jefferson Street. So, and these are subject to change, but these are kind of a couple initial concepts of how it might look. I didn't know if y'all
Oh,
can see
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, quite familiar with the layout.
Yeah,
I just didn't know how you were gonna get that many units.
Yeah, we're gonna,
There's
that
Z shape,
footprint,
it looks like an
yeah.
S.
yeah.
So you've already acquired the land?
I haven't, but, we're in negotiations right now.
Gotcha.
So he said he's gonna sell it to us, but, we're in negotiations right now, so,
That's it, thank you.
yep.
And the parking, where would that be?
It's gonna be structured parking. It'll be a parking garage,
Oh,
like on the first two levels, all the way across. I could.
Oh, the first two levels is parking and then housing above?
Yep. Like if you can see, if you see where this gray is on the bottom, it's gonna be parking in the back, all over there, all around. Yep. So we'll have parking for the church and for the tenants, so.
So you said 99-year ground lease, but you're also trying to acquire maybe a different parcel. Is that what I'm understanding here?
That's correct, yep.
well, maybe an idea would be to move that garden as a
Yeah,
part of
that would be nice, but
Something
we're gonna
dedicated.
ask, we're gonna see. but,
dedicated to,
Yeah, I don't know,
just throwing
because
that
we
out.
could reposition it, yeah.
Just throwing it
We'll have
out.
to see. I have meetings with NDOT because we're trying to go over 16th too. We can't abandon it because it has utilities going under 16th right there that backs into the interstate. We are gonna ask for some space. We're gonna encroach more. We walk back there like towards the interstate, like on the other side of the fence. It's room there to go back a little bit, because we have a hardship where the interstate basically took the church's land back in the 60s, so.
And remind me, have y'all already done some other developments, or is this like your first big project?
This is my first big project, yep. But I am bringing on an experienced developer, LIHTC developer to help me finish it out. I'm interviewing them right now, so. I have a lot of interested developer companies there, so.
Are you from here?
So I've been living here since I was 10 years old, 1990. I'm 45, so I've been here a long time. I went to Jerry Baxter, Neely's Bend, Hunters Lane, MTSU.
To know if you were.
I'm Nashville. Yeah, I've been here long enough. Yep. So, any more
Any other
questions?
comments or questions? We do have a necessity for a public hearing, so if there's anybody who would like to speak on this publicly, now's the time to do so. Seeing that no one did, I'd like to call for a motion. Anybody like to move to approve?
I move to approve.
Second? Seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Preliminary approval passed. Thank you. You're speeding along. Moving agenda number 9 for the board. This is for final approval, consideration of the request of the artist lofts for final approval issuance of that certain not to exceed $68 million in multi-housing revenue. Please tell the group who's here and get us an update.
Good morning, Reed Lauer, Holiday Ventures. Excited to be here for final approval. So Artist Lofts is a mixed-use master plan community just 10 minutes north of downtown Nashville, located on Dickerson Pike. It's really, you hear the word artist in the name of it, it's really designed for creatives and artists that are getting priced out of Nashville. And so this bond request is for phase 1 of the project, which is up to 260 units of affordable housing. There'll be first floor commercial retail space. We're building a WeGo transit center There's going to be creative makerspace for the residents and for the community. And we're also building a brand new daycare as well. So of the 260 units of affordable housing, there's going to be studios all the way up to 3 beds. And we were last year with you all in February of 2024 for our preliminary approval. And of course, today we're seeking final approval so we can close and start construction in a couple of months here. Happy to answer any questions.
Has anything changed with the project from when you had preliminary approval last year, like scope or anything?
We honed in our total unit count. So I think we had, when we first applied with you all, we had a higher total unit count. And now we have a total of up to 260 units on this approval.
Was the daycare part of the original proposal? It's just new to me, I just don't remember.
It was, so the daycare has always been part of the plan, but it might not have been mentioned at that point since we were so early on. We are confirmed we're building a new daycare at this point.
And will it be for residents only?
Residents, the community, anyone
open to the
who's looking
community.
for childcare.
Okay.
And I see that it is for artists. Is there any process, of you finding out if people are specifically artists or creatives or something like that?
So it's a great question, and just due to fair housing and how we select the residents who are going to be living there, we can't discriminate, obviously. So we're basically designing the project to attract artists, but we can't be like, okay, you want to live here, you're an artist, we'll approve you. And if you're not an artist, we'll deny you. That's not how it's going to work. So anyone will be able to live there. We'll have ample artist amenities. Does that
It's an
answer your
attraction
question?
versus a requirement.
Yes, exactly. Good question.
And so you define artists as
Any creative
Space.
person. In terms of the space, we'll have,
a creative being, not necessarily music or
yeah, we'll have,
paint or.
right, we'll have kind of just open makerspace with cabinets at lock, tables, basically like the bones of a room where you can go and paint, you can go and record a podcast, you can go play your instrument, and just have that space outside of your unit if you want to, gather with the community and really connect over the arts.
What's the construction timeline?
So if we get final approval from you all today, the plan is to start, close and start construction in 2 months.
And expected completion date if you start in 2 months?
Just trying to do some quick math. It's roughly 30 months is the construction schedule.
Can I notice again with the different phases? So we're doing phase 1 right now, and then phase 2, moving into that later in phase 3.
Yeah, that's right.
I see the tree houses in phase 3.
And can you remind us again, or remind me again, what's the AMI range?
All 260 units will be 60% area median income.
And you mentioned earlier that from the last time during your prelim, you all narrowed the units down to 230?
260.
Or 260. Can you elaborate a little bit why you all decided to lower the number of units?
Yeah, I mean, it really has to do with, we wanted to have the flexibility that early on when we were last here in February, we wanted the flexibility to be able to build out the most effective community, and that, over the last 12 months, that happened to be 260 units. I think going into these meetings, we like to have a little bit of flexibility to work with, so we don't have to come back to you all and be like, well, we actually are now increasing the unit count, if that makes sense.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah.
Yeah, this may have been discussed previously, but, obviously, you first came before us over a year ago. But can you kind of walk us through what the community approval process was like?
So, and Evan can tell you many stories about this, but the beginning of this project, the community was like, no way, not in my backyard. This was originally green space of undeveloped land, and it was their walking trails, it was their, their nature. They would get out into nature in these woods, and they were basically like, no, this development's not happening. And, I don't know how long it took, but through many, many community meetings and letting them know that we are here to work with you, we want to build the best possible community that's going to improve the neighborhood, improve the infrastructure, improve the opportunity for everybody in the neighborhood. We eventually built that trust through those meetings and worked with them closely on the design. What we're building now looks nothing like what was originally planned when we approached the community. And that's because of those community meetings that we finally landed on something that they're actually super happy with, to the point where they're now writing letters of support, and they're our biggest fan. Yeah.
Do you have the support of the,
Go ahead.
Do you have the support of the district council member?
Yes, Councilmember Sean Parker. We've working with him on a couple other projects, and Evan's been working with him for years at this point, and he's very supportive.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were some of the suggestions that you pivoted on the community gave you?
Yeah, good question. So there's a bit of topography on the site, 2 small mountains, and we wanted to originally work with the topography to disrupt less of the land, and as a result, though, that kind of went off Dickerson Pike east back into where they're closer to their backyards, closer to their properties. And what they wanted was, well, you have a great site, you have lots of land, why don't we condense the built space onto the Dickerson Pike and build up? So we were only planning like 3 stories at the time, now we're building 7 stories, but up on Dickerson Pike. So we're way further away from their backyards, and now we're conserving, I think it's up to 20 acres of permanently conserved green space in their backyards, which they're super happy about because they get their walking trails as well.
Oh, so then with those other phases, where will you move it to though?
They will be.
You have other property on where you are?
Yeah, it's a big site. So there's still room to build the tree houses like you saw, and build east further, but still not disrupt the 20 acres that will be in their backyard.
Good community engagement, that's.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the group?
So there's already another site being developed close by. I mean, and so you're just a little bit further down from them.
Yeah.
No cooperation, but just, I mean, totally independent.
Totally independent. Yeah.
But still on that same drag right there
Yeah.
before the co-op.
That's
Okay,
right.
Got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Familiar.
Any other questions? Being that this is a final approval, there's no requirement for a public hearing. Is there a motion from the board?
So moved.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Final approval.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's just remind the board that we have, talked in the past about staying involved. And just, once they break ground or.
Right, so we love to be invited to the groundbreakings or just be included in what's going on so that we can say we were there. And maybe we were there at a groundbreaking or an opening. It also just makes it feel very personal to us when we get to go to those. It makes this volunteer time even, that's our payment, that's our payment. So please include us in, not because we want to get in your business, just because we're really enthusiastic about it.
Absolutely. You'll all get invites to this groundbreaking.
Yeah,
It's my hood.
yeah, that's right. Any other comments or board business? seeing that there is none, we will adjourn. Thank you all.
Thank you.